Mr. Parekh, the Supreme Court panel finds no prima facie violation by the Adani Group. They say that there is no manipulation of share prices by the Adani Group, no investment laws violated, information has been shared. That's just one among several observations. How would you react through your preliminary reading of this report?
No, so I think it's a complete clean sheet really, based on what I've read. I've only seen the summary, but they seem to have on minimum promoter holding, manipulation, and the charge of the charge of opaqueness. I think they've said that they've not found any prima facie case of any of these three violations. So again, it's still at a prima facie state, so it will be subject to what SEBI does over the next, I guess, 3 months till August 14th. So, but I think it's looking good for the Adani Group, is what they say.
No, but Mr. Parekh, let's reflect on what the impact of this has been. The impact has been, besides financial volatility in the markets, the wealth of the Adani Group being substantially hit, investor wealth being completely eroded, it has resulted in this political storm led by several political parties who were not willing to wait for the results of this report or the SEBI report for that matter to come out. And that has further created instability. It has resulted in further erosion of wealth. In something like this, which affects a group with lakhs of employees and affects lakhs of investors, it affects reputations and so much more. Is it not a systemic problem that we have, that key political parties and figures are not willing to wait for a report to come out?
That's right. I think till now we've been running on innuendo. So I'm glad something is out there which is based on actual investigation, even if it's at the prima facie stage. So I think it's a good development that people can now, politicians of course love to fling things at each other. That's the nature of the jobs. But I think it's good that there's something in writing, something substantive, something based on investigation which has come out. So I think it's a good, as I said, it's pretty good for the Adani Group broadly. And on your first point that, people losing money, people also made a lot of money, right? So
right.
The prices have zoomed up over the past 5 years. So nobody's kind of saying, oh, you created so much wealth. Talk is all about the destruction of wealth, which has happened.
Mr. Parekh, another point, and I find this, fascinating, is what the Supreme Court panel says, and I quote, "The ED has found intelligence about potentially violative and concerted selling by specific parties just ahead of the publication of the Hindenburg report." Now, this is an indicator of some sort of a conspiracy existing, right? That it's not just the report and the fallout of the report, but the fact that some groups may actually have known of what was impending or what was coming up.
No, so now that goes into a more gray territory because they had in fact disclosed it in the report that they were going to short sell the stocks. So, the general principle in common law and broadly the law of fraud is that once you disclose something, it no longer becomes fraud. They can still be kind of investigated for manipulating the price.
No, sir. My point, Mr. Parekh, is that the Supreme Court had found intelligence about potential violations ahead of the actual publication of the report. So in the Hindenburg report, they said, look, this is the reason why we've done it. We are short sellers. They've spelled that out. What I'm saying is there was prior knowledge there was potential, there was alleged prior knowledge of Hindenburg about to come out with something. Is that not a conspiracy and is that not fraud?
Yes, so again, it'll depend on what the investigation comes out. If they find that, positions were taken in secrecy or there was some manipulation involved, I think we'll have to wait till August 14th, really. I think this interim report is not really shedding too much light on it, except I believe a little bit has been spoken about that portion.